Welcome everybody to this week's edition of Food is the Best Medicine, Soul, Body, and Mind. And I am your host, Zana Clark, Executive Wellness and Leadership Coach. And today I am sharing with you a food that is healing, not just for the body, but also our mind and our soul. And these are my favorite morning glory muffins. So on this show, every week I show up at 12:30. Excuse today, we had some technical difficulties today. But in general, I show up at 12:30 each Friday, and I share with you a tip that is nourishing, that is healing to our body, to our brain, and to our heart. So body, mind, and soul. And today's tip is definitely nourishing and healing on all three levels. These are my absolute favorite muffins, and I'm going to share with you some food wisdom on the ingredients that I will be using. And then I will demonstrate a little bit how we prepare the meal. And then I will cook it and I will hop back on a little bit later and show you the actual finished product. So these muffins are nourishing, they're healing, primarily because they're gluten-free, dairy-free, and we're using mostly whole grains and organic ingredients in it. So we want to be gluten-free and dairy-free to keep inflammation down. And since we are in February and our immune systems are very active right now, fighting off the general flus and viruses and bacteria that are out there on top of this pandemic, we want to keep inflammation down because that will overstimulate your immune system. It causes inflammation, but if you have inflammation from other sources in your body, it will also throw your immune system off balance. So we're keeping everything in balance, and we can do that with deliciousness as well. So we are gluten-free, we are dairy-free. Instead of the regular flours, which contain gluten, we are using almond meal. And I'm going to share a little bit about almond meal. We're also using sprouted oats. I'm going to share a little bit about that. And then for my dairy-free alternative, I'm using macadamia milk. So I'm going to share a little bit about that. So our almond meal. So almond meal is made from almonds. And there is a difference between almond meal and almond flour. Almond flour comes in two forms, blanched and unblanched. Blanched means they've taken out the skin. When it take off the skin, it allows for a higher fat content in the remaining product, and that allows the product to be more refined. So your baked goods will be more refined when you use almond flour than when you use almond meal. Almond meal has the skin on it, so it will yield a coarser baked good. However, it also, I think, has a few more vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals in it because most of those things are found in the skin of your nuts, seeds, vegetables, fruits. The skin actually has many, many nutrients. So we want the skin. So I'm using the almond meal so I get the benefit of all of those additional vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. Sprouted oats. So I use oats because oats are not only a great form of fiber, but they also are mucilaginous, meaning in terms of its texture, it's soothing to the digestive tract, right? And that soothing nature and mucilaginous nature allows it to be in contact with the endothelial lining of your digestive tract. And so it protects it and it allows for greater absorption of the vitamins and minerals from this. One of the phytonutrients in oats is something that calms and soothes the nervous system. Oats are known as a nervine in herbology. And that means it's soothing to our nervous system. So instead of you being in fight, flight, or freeze in a sympathetic, very stressed out state, oats are one of the things to help you feel calm, which is why it's a very nourishing type of breakfast to have. It's nourishing and it's soothing. So we're going to use oats as our two gluten-free ingredients. The third ingredient that I want to kind of highlight is macadamia milk. So you can use any kind of non-dairy milk product in this recipe. They will all work. However, some non-dairy milk products have a higher fat content and therefore more richness than others. So macadamia nut, cashew nut, those are my two favorite for baking because they do add that extra richness. And in this recipe, because I'm using almond meal instead of flour, so the almond meal has a little bit less fat, I'm adding additional fat with the macadamia nut milk. So this is one of my favorites and it tastes really good too. So this recipe, you can find this recipe after this show. It will be posted onto my private Facebook group, Real Food, Real Joy, Real Healing. That's Real Food, Real Joy, Real Healing. So you can jump on over to the group and get a copy of the recipe. And I'm just going to quickly show you how you make this. So in the recipe, I put my dry ingredients and then I have my wet ingredients and I will add my wet into my dry. So I have my oats, I have my almond meal, I have the spices that I'm going to use. Today I'm using cinnamon, ginger, a little cardamom, I love those, and a little bit of salt to help all the flavors melt together, just a little bit. And again, you can get the actual recipe on over at my private Facebook group. And then for our liquids, I do have the macadamia nut milk already in here, a little bit of olive oil, so additional fat, and I'm going to add 1 egg. So for my eggs, again, quality of the ingredients, I like to use pastured organic eggs. Pastured means they're running around like a chicken does, eating the birds, playing in the dirt, doing all of those things. And yes, it will have higher omega 3s, it'll have higher vitamin D amounts, it'll have a higher nutrient profile overall than those little chickens that I kept in a cage, or even if they're cage free, they're out of the cage, but they're in this house with a million other chickens and they're not exposed to the sunlight and those natural things that enhance the healing powers of the foods that we put in us, right? So I'm going to just add my egg and beat that all up together. I want to make sure that the egg is well mixed in with my liquids, right? Some people go for speed and they just blub, 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 and they're ready to go. But the egg is not mixed. The protein of the white is not mixed with the fat and the vitamins of the yolk, and you end up with a different end product, right? The white part is actually going to congeal. So we don't want that. We want it nicely blended. And I say that because, I've taught a lot of cooking classes and I'm amazed sometimes at what people know and don't know. So I assume that we're all at the knowing less and open to learning much more. I'm also going to use my whisk and whisk the ingredients of my dry ingredients together so that the spices and the salt is all blended throughout because we do not want to just bite into our product and end up with a whole bunch of something in our mouth. So now I will mix in my wet into my dry and just use my same whisk. You don't have to use a lot of different utensils for this recipe. I'm just mixing it. I want to make sure that everything is kind of blended in there together. And now I add my secret sauce, which are my carrots, which is a little banana and some raisins. And for this recipe, I'm using golden raisins because they're a little tart, which is kind of nice. But you can use regular raisins. You can use cherries. Dried cherries would be good in this one. Dried cranberries, or a combination of all three could be really delicious. So now I have a beautiful kind of batter here. I will show you a little bit of the batter. And I made some earlier, and I'm going to actually put those in the oven along with this batch. And I'm going to let these cook. They're going to cook for about 30 minutes. And then once they're cooked, I will come back on and I will just show you the finished product. So I invite you to go over to the Facebook group, get a copy of the recipe, try these out. Send me a picture on the Facebook group of your finished product. Tell me how you and your family enjoyed these. And if you want to learn more about how you can nourish your body, your mind, and your spirit, join me for a free webinar that I'm doing one tomorrow at this is Saturday at 9 a.m. and another version on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. So you can join for either times. But I'm doing a workshop to teach you the 3 keys to health, wealth, and happiness. And it is about food. It's about food for our mind and our soul. So I will be sharing 3 steps that if you implement these 3 steps in your life on a regular basis, it will make a difference to whether you achieve success with your health goals, or success in creating a rich, full life, or success in feeling joy and happiness and fun in everything that you do. So that's what it's all about. So I will post the links to those in the comment sections below so that you'll be able to see those. And otherwise, I will come back on in about 30-35 minutes and just do a quick little Facebook Live and just show you the finished product. So enjoy, and thank you for joining us for this week's edition of Food is the Best Medicine, Soul, Body, Mind. And see you next week. Bye.